Hello, hello. Welcome to Top Shelf Backpacking, Intro to Backpacking, Episode 10. Today we're going over some of the common mistakes I have seen out on trail. We are going to start today off with one of the most common things I've seen, and definitely something I've done myself, and that is bringing just too much gear. Obviously you need to cook something, but do you need a big old skillet if you're just boiling water? Probably not. Obviously you need to stay hydrated, so you need water, right? I brought a bunch on my first trip because I was backpacking at the beach and I didn't think I'd have access to fresh water. A water filter and a reliable water source, those can be tricky to nail down, is really all you need in that regard. Now obviously you need a tent, you need something to sleep on, but hopefully if you've watched the previous videos, you've bought the correct gear, the correct leader backpack. So you should try to limit the amount of things you have strapped to your backpack, because not only does it make it less comfortable for you, being that it's further away and can change and kind of cause you to sway, lose balance, but the clanging, the rattling, it's just no good. Also, you want to try to avoid having insulating layers on the outside where they can get wet, especially if they're down, since they will lose their insulative properties when they do get wet. Now, I have seen some pretty wild packs, haven't quite seen a skillet yet, but I did see a guy with a gigantic foam bedroll and a gallon of water, along with an axe, hiking his way up to Lake Wapiki on Mount Adams, and he was much more man than I, but I guarantee I was having a more enjoyable time hiking. Maybe not at camp, but definitely on the way up, a little bit more enjoyable. Another common mistake is packing too much clothing. You do not need a new outfit for every day you're going to be out there. You're going to get hot and sweaty. Just wear your hiking clothes. I do recommend having some sleep clothes, something dry when you get into camp, some pants, could just be a new pair of undies, a shirt, and some nice socks that you can keep clean. So those are okay to duplicate, but you don't need new shorts and shirts and everything for every single day that you're out there backpacking. When it comes to insulating layers, keep in mind your rain gear can double as some extra wind and warmth protection there. In the summer months, if the temps are above 50, maybe you don't need a puffy jacket and, nice down pants kind of thing. Maybe you can get away with just a fleece layer, or maybe just your rain jacket will be enough. I recommend testing in the temps anytime you can, meaning if you're going to be backpacking in the 50s and you can test your gear out just for like a nice walk or hanging out in the backyard in the 50s, that'll give you a good idea if it's going to be safe out there or not. Another common mistake I see backpackers making is wearing the wrong stuff. In the backcountry, the saying goes, cotton kills. So cotton t-shirts and jeans, not advisable. When these get wet, they take a long time to dry, and they will not keep you warm in that scenario. So you want to try to go to things like merino wools, alpaca wools. Wool isn't always hot and, kind of itchy. There are definitely some cooling layers out there, but a lot of times I just wear whatever I would wear to the gym, which would be something synthetic. I'm a big fan of sun hoodies to help keep the sun off me, nice long sleeves and a hood, and shorts, whatever kind of pants you would wear out just on a normal day hike, or again to the gym, should suit you well in the backcountry. I don't like big old boots. They're heavy. They wear my feet down. They make my feet overheat. I prefer trail runners. These breathe nicely. I have way less blisters when I hike in these compared to the boots I've used in the past. But again, use what you've got. If you've got some tennis shoes that have decent traction on them, and maybe you're backpacking in a place you've hiked before, so you know the footwear will work there, I say go with that. Another common mistake is not setting up to test your gear. Do you know when the best time to learn about a broken tent pole, new from the factory, or maybe a sleeping pad that doesn't hold air? It's not while you're out on trail. Now, if you're like me when you started, you lived in an apartment. And you know what? That meant being the weirdo at the park. But I'd rather look weird at the park than be hiking back to my vehicle at 3 o'clock in the morning, because once I got to camp, I realized I can't actually sleep here tonight safely. So, to me, it's better to get things set up where you can, get used to how to use it, and you can avoid some disasters. I've had some brand new pillows not hold air. Glad I figured it out before I was out there on trail. Another common mistake I see, and one I've done myself, is not doing any kind of prep at all. Now, I'm not saying you need to be in marathon shape to get out there. Obviously, I never have been. But I do some things to make sure I'm ready to get out there and go hiking. Do a lot of day hiking, but having that weight on your back is definitely different. So keep in mind, you can take your backpack, load it up with water bottles, sandbags, or just all of your gear, and use that throughout the day. Go out for a walk, go out for a day hike, or just do things around your house. You can do things like vacuuming. You can make your bed. You can do the dishes. You can even do the laundry, all while wearing your pack to help condition your shoulders to make sure you are ready to go out on your first backpacking trip. Another common mistake is not addressing something before it becomes a big problem. For me, this usually has to do with my shoes. Maybe I got a little pebble in there. It's getting a little irritating, but hasn't caused any blisters or, abrasions yet. But you are much better to stop immediately, take the shoe off, get the pebble out, and continue hiking. Same goes for hot spots. Try to treat those blisters before they even come blisters. When you start to notice that discomfort, oftentimes I'll get it in the ball of my feet or on my little pinky toe before I switch to Injinjis. You want to stop, take a little Leuko tape, cover up that area, then get going again. It seems inconvenient at the time. I've done it myself plenty of times, but it is so much more convenient than having to drain a blister and hike with a limp for the remainder of your trip. So if something starts to hurt, stop and stretch, take a break, take some Advil if you need to, but treat it the moment it pops up, not when it becomes a big problem. Another common mistake is assuming this, your sleeping bag or quilt, will warm you up. Now it sounds a little counterintuitive. Sleeping bags will keep you warm, but they do not generate any heat of their own. So if you crawl into one of these freezing cold, it's going to take a long time to warm you up if you warm up at all. I usually like to save a few little camp chores for right before bed, maybe going out to hang the bear bag, going to the bathroom, things like that. Heck, if you have to stop and do some jumping jacks or some sit-ups before you crawl into the tent, if you're a little bit warm when you get in to the sleeping bag, you're going to have a much easier time retaining that warmth and sleeping well through the night. Another common mistake a lot of folks make out on trail is listening to YouTubers like myself. I have bought plenty of gear that worked great for whoever was reviewing it, but when I got it, not the case. I can think of the torso length X-Therm that Dixie from Homemade Wanderlust loves. It was miserable for me as a side sleeper, hurt my knees because my feet were hanging down below. I can think of the Ultra Olympus that Darwin on the Trail really enjoyed, and I felt like I was going to roll my ankle every other step. Couldn't stand them, kind of a waste of money there, but it's hard to know what's going to work for you. If you've ever met Darwin, met him at Trail Days one year. He is significantly taller than me, very different body types. I am short and round, he is tall and skinny, so maybe those Olympus were great for him. They just didn't work well for my feet or my hiking style. So take everything I say and everybody else on YouTube says with a grain of salt. Try to find somebody who has gear that does seem to work for you. But when it comes to personal things like sleep systems and footwear specifically, it kind of is a little bit of trial and error, unfortunately. The final mistake is not getting out on trail at all. Not making any mistakes of your own. If you see my Trail Fail series, you know I still make mistakes fairly frequently, to be honest with you, and I'm sure I will continue to make them. Nobody's perfect, but so long as you learn from those mistakes, is it even a mistake at that point? So take what you've seen in this video and use it to get out on trail. This video series is kind of a 30,000 foot view. To dig in a little bit deeper, to learn more about food specifically, I would recommend checking out The Hungry Hiker on YouTube. And for just more kind of in-depth videos on all of this stuff, I would check out Wallowa Hikes over on YouTube, whose entire channel is just built up around beginner backpackers. So he has a lot more in-depth information on that to help you get out on your very first backpacking trip. For more information on all the things you see on this channel, visit topshelfbackpacking.com. Check back next week as we go over what to do once you've gotten back from your first backpacking trip. And until I see you again, cheers.